I wanted to preface this video by talking about the pros and cons of using spray foam insulation. So the pros of using spray foam insulation, I'm not necessarily going to get into like how it's better than using other insulations, but just doing a DIY spray foam project yourself is mostly what I'm going to be talking about today. So I wanted to talk about our experience. So we ordered the TigerFoam closed cell E84 spray foam kit. It's a kit that you can use. It comes with two components. So you got two canisters. You got component A and component B. They mix in the gun. You get two hoses. You get a little wrench. You get some nozzles, like replaceable nozzles. You get the little gun, some petroleum jelly to put on there. And you have some rules that you have to follow when you do this. So like they recommend that the tanks are 75 to 85 degrees before you use them. Replacing the replacement nozzles every 8 minutes. You know, watching to make sure that everything's expanding and doing what it's supposed to do. Well, we ordered our first kit and we received it back in about March or April, whenever the coronavirus was really happening. We still had some other stuff to do on our bus before we could actually insulate, so we actually just insulated our bus probably about 2 to 3 weeks ago, and unfortunately, the first time that we tried to do the spray foam insulation, it did not work properly. I will show a video of what happened, but basically, it did not turn out so great. My husband was doing the spray foam as usual. We had followed the instructions to a T, and we got a quarter of the way through the bus, realized that component B was spraying way more than component A was. The component B tank was almost completely empty. Component A was still like pretty much full, and it had started to turn like an orange color, but like right at the very end when my husband just noticed that the tank was doing this. Before that, there was no indication, there was no color change. It didn't seem like it was flowing any worse. We were replacing the nozzles, everything seemed fine. The only thing is that it just seemed like it was taking a while for it to expand, but we thought that that was somewhat normal, being that it was our first time using it. Anyway, we had contacted TigerFoam, so I do want to give a special shout out to TigerFoam for their customer service. We were able to speak with Jamie Rollinson, and she ended up giving us a whole new kit free of charge. Just sent it to us, and that was really awesome of her, because basically I took some pictures of the weight differences and some of the issues, and I'll put up a picture of what happened. It started making this really gooey spider-webbed effect, which was not good, and started to like have these holes and deflate. It was a very yucky mess that we actually had to scrape nearly everything out of. But besides that, they did send us a new kit, so I'm very thankful that they did that, because for the kit itself, it cost, with shipping and everything, about $800, so we really didn't want to just throw away $800 because the product ended up not working correctly. So anyway, we ended up getting the second kit in, and we spray foamed it this weekend. So the footage that I'm going to show you of us insulating the ceiling is footage from this weekend. So to start off, we received the second kit, and whenever we did, it came already broken, if that makes any sense. So we had the two tanks, and they come with these little plastic handles, and my husband does attempt to show this in the video, but he didn't think to actually zoom the camera in on what he was talking about. He thought that he could stand 500 yards away and talk about it, and that y'all would know what was going on. So I'm sorry if that part of the video is weird, but basically they come with these two little hand twist turn things, and they are plastic. Well, on the component B, it was perfectly fine, but on component A, the twist part had broken off, and there was literally a plastic nub in there about this much sticking through of just plastic, hard plastic that was just sticking straight up. So imagine that I was trying to turn this, and this was the plastic piece. This was no longer existent, so it was literally just this piece right here. So we had to figure out a way to where we could actually turn it, and that was kind of difficult and frustrating in itself, because it was just like, great, we have all this product, but we don't know how to use it because we can't turn this thing. Luckily, my husband It was kind of hazardous, but he got a small little blowtorch, heated up a flathead screwdriver, managed to poke the flathead screwdriver into the plastic mold. That way it kind of melted and molded around the actual flathead, and he was able to get it in there just enough to where he could turn it and basically use it as kind of a crank. So at least he was able to do that, but it was still kind of frustrating because it was just like, you know, we had issues the first time, and then now what are we gonna do? So luckily we were able to figure that out. But we started doing the insulation, and the insulation turned out really good. The con though is that I guess maybe I should have did some more research on it, had called a professional about it, but on the website it says that it's good for up to 600 square foot per 1 inch. The way in my mind took this was our best is 240 square feet. So if we had, you know, we would have more than enough. We'd have so much of the tanks left over to be able to finish the bus. I was kind of worried that we would have too much left over. Well, apparently this meant take your 240 times it by 2. That's, you know, 600, you know, at least close to 600. We were only able to get 1 inch of insulation on our ceiling. In some areas, my husband put a little bit more, so was able to expand up to 2 inches, but we didn't know that it was going to run out until we literally got done with the ceiling, tried to do some of the wall panels, realized we ran out. So if we would have known that it was only going to be that much, we would have done another sweep on top of the areas where we had laid 1 inch. So now we are going to have to get a professional to come out, and at the end of the video I will show you the final process, and I will give you a recommendation. I'll go ahead and recommend him right now. So we're going to be using a gentleman, his name is Isaac. He works for EcoTrue Installation here in Denver, Colorado. His prices were very reasonable, even cheaper than what we honestly got all of this for. You know, I think it was kind of a little bit of false advertising and maybe should have been explained a little bit better, and maybe that's just me. But for someone that has no knowledge about insulation or how to use spray foam or the per inch, you know, stuff like that, that it was just a little odd to me, where I wish that it would have said, like, if you have this amount of square foot, double it, because that's how much you're actually going to need in the product. Because like I said, if I would have known, we would have either bought 2 kits, or I would have called around firsthand. The only reason that I did not call a professional before we started doing all of this ourselves is I was following a lot of Facebook, Skoolie forums, a few Skoolies on YouTube, and a lot of people were saying that they spent $2,500 on getting their installation done professionally. We wanted to stay as cost effective as possible, so we figured that being able to do it ourselves would be more cost effective. Like I said, you know, it was $800 for us to get that kit. If it would have been a full 600 square foot, I think it would have been worth it, because the product itself is awesome once it works properly. But unfortunately, we did not realize that, and you know, the R value is probably going to be about the same that a professional would do, but it's just more peace of mind, I feel like. And it had, like I said, had I known that we could have gotten it done professionally with no hassle on our end or anything like that, just having to wait for them to come out, then it would be awesome. But now we're at a point where we have our ceiling 1 inch insulated where we wanted 2 inches. And we were hoping to insulate the floors, the wall panels, and have the ceiling 2 inches, and that did not happen. So now we have to wait another 2 weeks for this professional to come out and do it. Granted, we could put down some like rigid board on the floor and get some of that done, but I really wanted to do spray foam because it blocks a lot of airflow from coming in and up underneath the bus. It really insulates a lot better than having board foam or just fiberglass. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what happened the first time, and then I'm going to go through some little tips of what they suggest you do if you do plan on using TigerFoam. I'm not saying they're a bad company, it's just I wish that the way that they had advertised how much you needed was a little bit more clear and understandable, as well as I wish that you know, we wouldn't have gone through the issue the first time. I get it, if it was a malfunction, they sent us a new thing, that's great. But I wish there would have been a little bit more quality control on the second package they sent us, because it didn't look like it broke off in the box. We looked through the box and that plastic piece wasn't in there, so it looks like it was broken off before it was put in the box. Anyway, so I hope that y'all enjoy this video, and yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you what happened the first time around. About 88 degrees.
What are you? 95? Jeez, man.
All right, now we're gonna start shaking them up, suiting up, and getting everything ready. We're suited up. We're just gonna roll it, shake it up for the 3 minutes as suggested.
So basically we're having a little situation here. What happened is, whenever this came in, basically they had these little hand valves on them. This one did not. It wasn't broken off, or it was broken off when it came. But we searched the box and there's no handle in the box. And so now there's just a little tiny nub sticking up out of there. And I really doubt we're gonna be able to even use the product. This is the second batch of stuff we've got from these guys. First batch didn't work because it didn't mix right in the gun. This batch, I really doubt we're gonna be able to use component A at all. Basically, it leaked out all over the threads, and in the previous bit, you can see me cutting this off because it was glued. And I guess we'll see what happens, but basically I'm gonna try to melt this down into the valve just a little bit. I know it's dangerous, but you know, tired of dealing with this and other people's screw-ups, so here we go, I guess. I've not opened either valve yet. I have no flammables in the area. Apparently I'm getting text messages, so apparently everything's just gonna not work today.
Who are you talking to? Too much to it.
That's after I cut it off for that corner. I took video of it before, but made sure to point it out real good. Here we go.
should be. It's red.
Go.
Shake it up again.
Probably. At least I got the bottom.
I just wanted to show you guys how our insulating went. This is the day after. Everything is cured and hard, but we only got about 1 inch on the ceiling. We wanted to have 2. In some areas it expanded to be about 2 inches. It doesn't look bad, and there is actually a significant temperature change on the infrared thermometer. Earlier I came out here and it was about 90 something on the insulated panels, whereas the ones that aren't were about 108. So at least a good 9 to 8 degree difference, which is really nice. So, like I said, we did part of the walls, so that's about what it needs to be right there, which is fine. But we are pretty disappointed because on the packaging it said, up to 600 square foot, and our bus is obviously only 240 square foot. Basically on the website it's very confusing because it says 600 square foot, and basically that only means up to 600 square foot if it has 1 inch to it. So we did not realize that, and now that we have only used one kit, it's not going to cover the entire bus. We were hoping to get the floors done and the entire rest of these wall panels. You can see we only got a few done, and then on these last 2 here, there's maybe about 1/2 inch to 1 inch. So a bit disappointed in that. I guess we should have known. It just seems a little like false advertising to me. Maybe I'm complaining too much. But yeah, this completely ran out on these 2 panels. I'm excited that we got most of the ceiling done. Like I said, in certain areas there's only 1 inch where I would like to have 2. So we are actually going to have to hire a professional to come through and do this. And we have been speaking with Isaac at True Insulation here in Denver, Colorado. So if you live in Denver and you're looking to get your Skoolie professionally done, I would suggest talking to him, because he quoted us whenever we had our first mishap to like 600 to 700 for the whole entire Skoolie, and it would be a value of R25. This is only R6.2 to R7 per inch. So honestly, he would have been the better option to go with, but you live and you learn. So you can see this is where we had put some of that insulation down the first time and scraped all that off, scraped it off back here. But at least we were able to get the ceiling mostly done, so I'm not going to complain about that. I just wish that we would have been able to actually finish it and move on with our lives. But yeah, this is our Skoolie, mostly insulated. And you can tell that it's not near as echoey, which is pretty cool. So that is our bus insulated. Thank you so much for watching.